Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Katie Schauer, and I am your host for this afternoon. You've joined us for our final Experts on Tap for 2020, and we will have it published later next week on our website. We'll also be emailing you the recording link so that you can review it later. If you should have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to utilize the Q&A and chat boxes, and we'll be happy to answer those questions at the end of the session. We do have all lines muted due to the call volume we are expecting. With that, I would like to hand it over to Jason Paquette.
Thanks, Katie. My name is Jason Paquette, and I'm an employee owner at InSource. As a 100% ESOP company, we commit to live by 4 unifying principles: contribute, serve, build, and care. This simply highlights that our employees care about each other. We are building a company that is designed to stand the test of time by selflessly serving our clients and contributing to the broader community of U.S. manufacturing. Our vision is to make those manufacturers and industrial companies more productive and profitable, ultimately revitalizing manufacturing in America. We've helped thousands of clients so far and well on our way to deliver over $1 billion in transformational results for our clients through digitization. We don't do this alone. InSource is an AVEVA Select partner, one of only 8 in the country. We love the cutting-edge technologies of our partners, but our secret sauce is that we recognize that technology alone is not enough. So we help companies truly integrate technology into their processes and routines and then support them for the long haul. We call it the InSource way, and time again, we've seen it unlock the untapped potential in industrial plants and employees. Next slide, Ted. So, Experts on Tap was created earlier this year to try to do a deeper dive in some of the topics that we hear at InSource. And one of the things today is Dream Reports, and so we're going to do a little deeper dive for 30 minutes on their reporting and their dashboards. So I'm going to move it over to Ted, who's our expert today. You there, Ted?
A great journey.
Sorry, Ted, you were muted.
Okay, sorry. Thanks for joining us, folks. Ted Flores, System Consultant with InSource. Been here about 15 years or so. Been a good ride. I help sell the Wonderware and AVEVA products and some of the other add-on products, and help teach those products and actually help, deploy some of those products in the field with some services and things like that. So we're going to dive into Dream Report today, which I think is a great solution. I'm not a SQL Server expert, and I think this is a great tool where you can go tap into some of that data from your historian and extract some of that information without being a .NET programmer or a SQL expert. A lot of that coding and all that is done behind the scenes for you with the Dream Report tool. So let's take a look at some examples of some reports, and then we'll drill into and actually build some sample reports here. So if we look at Dream Report, basically there's some example reports there. It can be very graphical, right? There's tabular type data you can have, but you also can give it some pizzazz and has some data that snaps out and jumps out and grabs people and helps you identify issues that you see at your facility. What it does is basically you connect to your data sources, and that could be Wonderware Historians or the InTouch Classic can connect to that, but any database, any SQL Server database we can connect to, but typically we're connecting to a Wonderware Historian or AVEVA Historian or an InTouch application using the log files and things like that. So we connect to those data sources, we go into the Dream Report Studio and configure the report. I akin Dream Report is almost like good old classic InTouch, where it's kind of a point and click. You kind of drop things, elements on the screen, and then you link them to the data source. So if you can do InTouch HMI programming, you can connect to Dream Report and create some pretty nice reports there. And then you can generate the reports. The reports can get generated based on a time frame, right? We can say, I want to run this report every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to show me yesterday's production. We can also generate a report based on some sort of event that happens. So let's say you get a trigger from your PLC that says this batch is complete. So we can automatically generate a report, and based on that batch completion, or maybe there's some sort of condition that you want to snapshot some data that happens in your process and you want to capture that in a report. So we can tie directly into your PLC triggers to fire off a report. And then once a report gets generated, we can distribute that report. You know, typically we're going to generate that as a PDF file, right? And that can be sent to folks in the via email. So let's say you want to have this report scheduled every morning at 7 o'clock for yesterday's production. It can be blasted out to all the production managers in their email box at 7 o'clock in the morning, so have it waiting for them when they get on shift. You know, we can generate Excel files, CSV files. We can also generate these in a web page. These files also can be saved to a file server. So let's say I want to generate a report. It's going to wind up on a file server somewhere, so someone can go back in time and go look at that PDF file. And of course, there's a web interface that we can access this data, and that can be run on your mobile phone if you choose to. So one of the beauties of Dream Report is not a Wonderware or an AVEVA product. It's an endorsed product by AVEVA and Wonderware, which means it goes through all the quality controls and all the testing of a Wonderware product to get that endorsed status. There's not many endorsed partners within the AVEVA Wonderware community. So these guys are one of those, and they are very tightly coupled to the AVEVA product line. But to integrate with Wonderware, we can connect to some real-time data, right? We can connect to InTouch data directly, or InTouch Machine Edition, or application server, or we can even connect directly to IO servers and DA servers there. But I think the power really lies when we connect to our historical data sources there. So, you know, InTouch creates these things called LGH files. So if you're just using InTouch history, you know, it's not a historian. I call it a data logger. It's a great tool to be able to see information on your InTouch application. So if you want to tap into those LGH files, this is a great tool to do that. And there's not many tools that can do that. Wonderware has a thing called HIS data, but it's starting to show its age there. So if you have those log files that you want to grab some information out of from InTouch, this tool knows the structure of those LGH files and can extract the information. It can extract log information, alarm log information. So we have kind of two methods of storing alarms these days in the good old-fashioned database, and then we also store data now inside the Wonderware Historian, so we can correlate, you know, process alarms with your historical data. So Dream Report knows about these two structures. And then, of course, I think where we see Dream Report being used most is the Wonderware Historian. So Wonderware Historian is a great tool to be able to log all your information. It's very efficient in how it stores that data into a database. We have connectors from, you know, all the different OI servers and drivers that we have. InTouch can push data to the historian directly now, and System Platform can push data to the historian. So this is where I see Dream Report shining, where it knows the structure of that Wonderware Historian, and we can extract that information out. There's also Wonderware Online or Historian Online called Insight these days, and Dream Report also can extract that information. So Wonderware Online does a great job of creating these dashboards and things like that, but there's nothing really there that's going to, you know, automatically generate a report every day or email you a report. So if you want to take AVEVA Insight to the next level, adding Dream Report on top of that will give you some additional reporting capability. And then we also have something, connection to our IntelliTrack, which is our mobile round, where you can go get data from stranded assets and store that information into a database. So it knows about all the different structures of the Wonderware solution there. So here's an example of a real report that I helped a customer with. This customer makes armor that goes around Humvees and tanks. It's a very lightweight composite material, much lighter than heavy armor. And what they have to do is they have to heat this material up and press things together over a period of time, and they consider that a batch. And they have to understand what the temperatures was in these different zones and what the temperature thresholds were. And they wanted to see, you know, a a profile trend over that time, and this gets shipped along with this when they ship it out to their end customer. But you can see, Dream Report gives you the ability to have, tabular type data here, and then also we can do graphical data and show trends on the actual report. So this is the entire run, and you can see this run took, 58 minutes. And this is something unique within the Dream Report, is the ability to kind of extract this information. We can store a lot of data in our Wonderware Historian, but we need to know, when the start time was and the end time of our batch or our process run. And sometimes that's difficult. Wonderware Historian, we're storing all that data all the time. How do we define these things called fence posts? What the start time and end time? And Dream Report has this great feature in here, this batch feature, where you can save some information so it knows what the start time is of the batch and the end time of the batch, and then it can automatically go extract the information while the batch was running to just give you that information about the batch. So we'll talk a little more about that. But let's show you some actual Dream Reports that are some samples we have for you, and then we'll actually go in and build some Dream Reports. Did I close down? I must have closed down my Dream Report portal I had running. I thought I had it already running, but we'll fire that back up. Give me 1 second. And we'll get that going. So this is a Dream Report web portal, and this is the actual web portal that would be used if you purchase this and wanted to actually use it to push out reports to your end users who could look at the data. I'm just going to step through some example type reports so you can get a flavor of what type of reports are in there. In that last report I just showed you we considered a batch report, but here's another example of a batch report. So I might, see some information about the batch, the start time, end time, the duration of the batch, and then, some statistics about that batch. So some built-in statistical functions within Dream Report that you can do. And then, of course, I can layer some graphical elements here, some trends and bar charts and pie charts to make it more visually appealing for your end users there. So there's an example of a batch report. I'm going to drill down on a couple other things. Here's a kind of an energy report if you wanted to do some statistics about how well you're consuming energy at your plants, or you can do a utilities dashboards. A lot of folks want to see how well they're doing as far as being energy efficient. So an example of a report where I can go look at all the utilities that I'm using over a period of time. So just some examples of some of the graphical elements that you can use to display this information, and all this data coming from the Wonderware Historian. If I look down here into production, there's some other couple reports I want to show you here. An example of a report where we can see tabular type data, right? So I can see some tabular type data over a specific period of time, and you define what that period of time is, whether it's the last year, whether it's last month, whether it's the last 8 hours or last shift. You can generate that report based on that time frame. So, and of course, we're embedding some trends like that inside this reporting tool. The other thing we can do, your Dream Report understands the alarm structure within the Wonderware databases. So we can go through here and we can look at the alarm information and see that information about those different types of alarms we have. So if I go here into, say, my alarm analysis report, this can go reach into the Wonderware Alarm database and kind of give you a Pareto of, what are the different priorities, and give you a Pareto chart of how many occurrences that happened of this alarm here. That's one of the things we have to deal with in a plant environment. If we're getting overloaded with alarms all the time, we want to go fix those. So this report can help you, analyze those alarms and tell you how many occurrences you have and look at information like that. So it knows those structures of either the classic alarm database or the history block alarm information that we have in the Wonderware databases. And then if we look just through here, some of the examples that we have, we can do things like automatic statistic tables. So there's a lot of built-in statistics associated with Dream Report. I can look at the average, the sum, standard deviation, things like that. that I can pull that information and just check a box and says, I want to see some statistics about some of my reports that I have here. You know, bar graphs and things like that, I can embed just some examples of graphically how these things look, that I can embed these inside of my trends. I can look at, you know, trend type charts. We saw some of those examples already, so I can embed some trends inside my graphics. Of course, pie charts is another thing that can grab your attention to help make things more visual than just a bunch of data tables on the screen there. There are some other SPC type reporting capabilities. You know, it does have some XBAR&R type charts that you can create. So here's some example of some XBAR&Rs and range charts and histogram charts that we can have. Now, again, all this data can be coming from your Wonderware Historian to display this information. Some other type reports that I'll drill into here, if I look at pump station daily reports. So any water, wastewater customers out here, they know they have a lot of reports that they have to generate for state reports, environmental reports. This is a great tool to be able to do that, go extract the information from the Wonderware database and generate these types of report for all the environmental reports that you may have out there. So I'm going to jump in, and we're actually going to build some reports. That's just some example reports that I wanted to show you there. So we're going to go into the virtual machine I have here, and we have the Designer Studio installed here. So if I go into the Dream Report Designer Studio, you know, you can actually start building your reports here. So I'm going to go here, and we're going to build a couple simple reports just to give you a flavor of how that's done and truly how easy it is to do this. So I'm going to go do this report here. I'm going to call this, you know, my template. So I'm going to generate a report template so I can use this as my background for all my reports. And I'm going to want to go here, and I'm going to want to insert my company logo here. So I'm going to put my company logo on this report. I'm going to drill down into, I have a little JPEG file that I'm going to stick on here and stick that on my screen. Now, our company is called Spacely Sprockets. I might be showing my age there, so some of you out there who been around a while probably know who Spacely Sprockets is. So we'll talk about that later. So a couple of things I can put, you know, a page number. I want to put the page number on all my sheets. So I'll just stick that up in the corner. I want to put the date and time up here on my report and just call that date time. So there's my date time on the report. Then I'll probably want to put, you know, a report name here. So I'll just stick this, you know, text on here and call it Spacely XX report. You know, go here and maybe change the font on that guy a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. So we'll make that a Spacely XX report. We'll make that bold here and say we want to make that bold. So there's my report template. So I'm going to save this report and my template. All right. So then now I'm going to go create a new report. Oh, I'm going to save this template. I want to save this as a page template so it knows it's a template. So I'm going to go here and make a new report, and I'm going to call this, you know, Spacely Spacely Process Report. So there's my Spacely Process Report, and I'm going to say I want to apply a page template. So I'm going to go apply that my template report there. So it's going to have this background for every report that I have. So one of the things I want to do, I want to go extract some information from the Wonderware database. One of the first things I need to do is configure the connection to that database. I've already done that here. You know, it's like a food cooking show. Half the cake's already baked here in the interest of time. So if I want to connect to this AVEVA Historian, basically what I would do is I go down here and I find the data source of the thing I want to connect to. And you can see there's all those data sources we showed on that PowerPoint, where it's the Wonderware Historian, the IntelliTrack, application server, InTouch real-time values, and InTouch history files. But I've already configured this thing called the AVEVA Historian. So if I go configure, that AVEVA Historian is called the runtime database, and basically it's on this local instance of this computer. If I do a test connection, I have a good connection to that database. So anytime I want to extract information from that database, I connect to that AVEVA Hist. All right, so now I say, okay, I already have that AVEVA Historian there. So let's say I want to go extract some information. One of the tables I have here is this automatic statistic table. So I'm going to go here and drop this on my screen. And we're going to go pick some tags from that Wonderware database. I'm going to go from that external history server. I'm going to point that to AVEVA Historian. I'm going to go, there's my analog tags. I know I have a thing called station_001. And there's some values on here. I have a flow, a pressure, and a temperature. I'm going to add that to my chart. And let's go pick the statistics that I want. You can see here are all the statistics that I have available to me. So I'm going to go look at the first value. I'm going to do a minimum, a maximum, a minimum, an average, and then I'll probably do a standard deviation. So it's automatically going to calculate those statistics for us. And you can see all the different statistics I have here. Some of the SPC statistics I have available to me. I can go look at, the integral if I'm trying to look at a flow for a water flow or something like that. So now I have those things checked, and it's automatically going to build those and stick them on my screen. So if I want to just test this one piece here, I can save my report, and I want to test it. I'm going to say I want to run this project, and this is called Spacely's Process Report. I'm running my project here, and this little interface is going to show you how to just generate this report. So there's my process report. I want to generate a PDF. I'm going to say I want to generate that as a file. You can see over here at the bottom, it's generating that report as we speak. And then we can go look at that in the PDF and see that information in that PDF file. It's taking a while to run that report, which usually doesn't take that long, but we'll give it a minute. But you can see this is the runtime interface. You can also interface this from the web page. That's taking longer than normal. There it goes, it's finished. And then I go look at that report, and you can see it went and generated that data from my historical database, and there's the min-max average, standard deviation information about that. One thing we didn't say is what's that time frame. So the time frame is the last 1 day. So in the Dream report, you tell it what that time frame is. You can say, I want it to be absolute or fixed period, but I did a absolute. So the last 1 day from now, it's going to go back 1 day and calculate those statistics about that. So let's drop another item on the chart. Let's just do a trend chart, if you will. And we're going to go to that external history server. Going to also get to that Wonderware Historian, AVEVA Historian, all the analog tags. We'll do that same station 001, and we're going to add station 1 flow, and we're going to make this a very smaller time period. We're just going to go 5 minutes so the data looks a little better there. We're going to get the last 5 minutes of that data, and then we're going to add that to my chart, and it's going to be a blue chart. So now I'm going to also add some other features here, other items here. Go to that analog tags, go back to my station. 01, I'm going to do a pressure. All right, we'll do that for 5 minutes, add that. And then we can just type it in here, and we're going to do our temperature. And we're going to add that, guys. So now we got my flow, pressure, temperature. I'm going to go here and give my legend turned on. I'm going to turn on this thing called zero base so it shows a little different on my chart. This is kind of how the chart is formatted. So you can see all the interface, a lot of just point and click. You don't have to be a SQL guru to understand that. So then there's what that kind of chart looks like. Let's save that. And then we're going to reload the project, this report, and we'll get to run that and see that trend information. So there's our process report. We'll select that. We'll select that as a PDF, generate it. Hopefully it's not going to take as long as it did last time, but for some reason it's taking a little while. So it's generating that report, and we'll see that new trend file embedded inside of that report. Not sure why it's taking so long, but life is a live demo, right? Let's give that finished. There it goes, it finished. So there's that trend file. So that easy, you know, I'm just pointing and clicking to my attributes, sticking them on my report, and we're seeing that information. So we're going to do one more change to this report. I'm going to add some things where I want to do some things for my pump runtime. I already have some of this done in interest of time, so we'll I'm going to go grab these items are already done, this half-baked cake that we have here, and grab these things, copy them. I'm going to go back to my Spacely Sprocket report there. I'm going to paste these on here, and these are going to give me the pump runtime, how many times this pump came on and off, what's the running time, and a little chart here showing you that in a bar chart. So I'm going to save this guy again. And we're going to reload the report. And we'll regenerate this report, and you'll see this information, Spacely Sprockets, and we're going to generate that as a PDF and go ahead and generate it one more time. And we'll should see those runtime hours and how many times that pump came up and running. Again, this all can be triggered automatically based on, you know, an event coming in from your PLC, or, you know, time of day. You say, I want to go generate this report every day at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to go generate that report for us. So let's go look at that report here. And there you go. And you can see there's the how many times this pump came on and off, the running time, and a little chart showing that information. So that's the basics of a dream report. I'm going to do one more or a couple more for you here real quick. That I have done. I'll probably just show you the ones I already have done. So this report here is getting data from the InTouch. So the InTouch log file. So same kind of thing. This time I'm connecting to this InTouch history, right? So I'm connecting to the InTouch LGH. So it sees all my tags in my InTouch application that are exposed to me. And then I also have, you know, just putting those on a trend, same kind of thing, pulling those data points from InTouch. So if I go to my runtime project and I go to my InTouch history and I go generate that report, it's going to go extract the information from my InTouch log files, and you can see all this information came from those InTouch log files. So pretty easily connect to Historian, InTouch, whatever you need to be able to extract that information. Got another report here that I'm going to show you. This is basically an alarm report. So basically what you can do is you can go connect to the alarm database. So this knows this, define this filter here, and basically you're connecting to the Wonderware alarms, right? So you're using this WW alarms here to the alarm history. You can sort it by priority and things like that, but basically you're pointing to that Wonderware database, and it knows all the columns within that Wonderware alarm database, and you can pick and choose which ones you want there. So if I go and generate this report, I go to my alarm report and I hit my PDF and I click generate. It's going to go out and extract the information from the alarm database. That thing generate 1229. Yes, I go look at that report. So there's the alarms that are coming from that alarm database. It knows that structure and sees that information. So you can see, hopefully, you can see how easy it is to generate a report. Basically, it's point and click. You know, pick the element that you want to pull from the different types of report capabilities you have, whether it's a pie chart or a bar chart. The different types of reports you can connect to a SQL database. So basically, there's some example reports that we created. Now, the other thing we can show here is this Dream Report database inside of the web page. So I have the ability to go here and say, I want to go to Dream Report and see the current web page. So within Dream Report, it can come with a web interface to be able to see all the information. So that report that we just created, Space Lease Sprocket Production Report, now shows up on the web page, and I can go look from the web interface. I can go look at those reports. These are the reports that I just generated. It shows all those past reports. But I also have the ability to go here and say, I want to go look at a new report. I can go generate a new report based on a different time frame. So I can say, I want to go pick a original time period, but I want to change the report time. I want to go say, look at yesterday. We'll go say at 8 a.m. this morning and make that 8 a.m. So it'll generate the report for data at 8 a.m. this morning. And I say generate. So it's going out now and generate a new report, but the time frame has changed. So you can change that from the report interface. And we'll see that report is being generated. That one took a while, so it's generating that report, and it shows all that information up on the interface. So this is kind of the last thing I wanted to show you is the ability to see this information in the Dream Report web portal. Right, and there's that report. So this is a new report that just got generated. And if we go look at a time frame, it did pick the different time, but you can go pick a different time frame. You want to go point to a report that says, I want to go generate a report for yesterday or 2 days ago. You can go generate those types of reports. So looks like we're right up against our deadline here. That's all I officially had. We're here to take any questions if anybody has any questions about what you saw today.
Yes, please utilize the Q&A and chat box for any questions you may have. We will address those. I would like to remind you that we have recorded this session and we will be posting that to our website later next week so that you can share it with colleagues or review it yourself. And if you do have any desire for a more in-depth demo or to learn more about Dream Report, please contact us. You can reach us on our website, insource.solutions, or you can reach us at communications@insourcess.com. Let me see here. Doesn't look like we have any questions at this point in time. And we are right at the time, so I am going to end the session. But again, thank you for attending, and we look forward to working with you next year. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you all.